In the Middle Ages, when the world was wider than we imagined and the roads were filled with the unknown and dangers, a young man from the city of Tangier in Morocco set out, carrying in his heart a passion for knowledge and a boundless curiosity to discover what lies beyond the horizon. That young man was Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Muhammad ibn Ibrahim al-Lawati, known as Ibn Battuta, one of the greatest travelers in human history. Ibn Battuta was born in 1304 CE in Tangier into a noble Moroccan family. His father was a judge, so he grew up loving knowledge and was deeply influenced by the atmosphere of law and scholarship in his home. In 1325 CE, when Ibn Battuta was 21 years old, he decided to leave his homeland for the first time to go on pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia. But the journey turned into an adventure that lasted around 24 years. Ibn Battuta made three main journeys. The first journey lasted 24 years, during which he visited many countries all the way to China. Then he returned to Morocco and from there began his second journey to Spain, Al-Andalus, which lasted about 2 years. After returning once again to Morocco, he set out on his third journey to Sudan and Mali, which lasted about a year. Finally, he returned to Morocco and worked as a judge. The Sultan of Morocco then ordered his rider, Muhammad ibn al-Juzay, to write down everything Ibn Battuta dictated to him, resulting in one of the greatest travel books in history, تحفة النظار في غرائب الأمصار وعجائب الأسفار, which has since been translated into several languages. Ibn Battuta left Tangier, heading east toward Algeria, then Tunisia, and from there to Libya, traveling with caravans of merchants and pilgrims. Along the way, he faced diseases, storms, and hunger. He even suffered from fever. He continued his journey until he entered Egypt. Ibn Battuta visited many Egyptian cities such as Alexandria, Cairo, and Luxor, and attended scholarly circles where he listened to teachers and discussed his travels. They admired his courage despite his young age. He traveled along the Nile River toward Upper Egypt, intending to cross the Red Sea to reach Saudi Arabia, Mecca, for pilgrimage. But the road was full of dangers and unrest, so he returned to Cairo, then headed north through Palestine. He passed through Gaza, where he prayed in its mosques, describing it as a small beautiful city full of gardens. Then he continued to Jerusalem, where he visited the Dome of Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque. From there, he continued to Lebanon and then Syria, Isham. He was fascinated by its beauty, scholars, and schools, and decided to stay there for a while. In Damascus, Syria, he married for the first time. Then he stayed for a short time, before continuing his journey to Mecca, Saudi Arabia. After performing Hajj pilgrimage in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, he decided not to return home, but to continue exploring the rest of the Islamic world. So he traveled north to Iraq, visiting many cities including Baghdad, which had been destroyed by the Mongols a century earlier. From there he continued east to Persia, Iran, then returned to Iraq, then Mecca, Saudi Arabia for a second pilgrimage, then traveled to Yemen, then Somalia, Tanzania, and sailed back to Yemen again, then Hormuz, Iran, and Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Afterward, he went to Syria again, then Turkey, Crimea, southern Russia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan, before finally reaching India, which was then under the rule of Sultan Muhammad ibn Tughlaq. When Ibn Battuta arrived in Delhi, the Sultan admired his eloquence and deep knowledge of Islamic law, and appointed him as a judge, giving him a house and a generous salary. Ibn Battuta lived in India for almost 10 years and also married there. Later, Ibn Battuta wanted to travel again, but the Sultan Muhammad ibn Tughlaq refused to let him leave until he was finally assigned a diplomatic mission to China as an ambassador of India. Ibn Battuta was supposed to travel by sea from the Indian coast, carrying gifts and royal letters. But halfway there, Pirates attacked, storms struck, and the ships sank with all treasures and gifts. Ibn Battuta barely survived and decided to visit the Maldives islands. In the Maldives, he stayed for a long time, married local women, and was again appointed as a judge. After years of residence, he continued eastward to Sri Lanka, but his ships were about to sink, and pirates robbed everything he had, so he returned once again to the Maldives, then traveled to Indonesia, and finally reached China. From China, storms forced him back to Indonesia, then India, and then to Yemen, from where he began his journey home, passing through many cities including Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Later in Damascus, Syria, he searched for his son, whom he had not seen for 20 years, but he discovered that his son had died. At that time, a plague had spread across the Middle East, in Syria, Palestine, Egypt, and Morocco, and many countries, killing thousands of people every day. After many years in the East, Ibn Battuta returned to Morocco in 1349 CE to find that both of his parents had passed away. Yet he didn't stay long. His soul was still restless, longing for discovery, so he set out again, this time to Spain in Andalus, where Granada was then a beacon of science, art, and Islamic architecture. He admired the greatness of Islamic civilization in the West, visited Gibraltar, and then returned to Morocco once more. Afterward, in 1352 CE, he headed south on his third journey to Sudan and Mali, crossing the Great Niger River. It was one of his most difficult trips, as he faced extreme heat, sandstorm, and lack of food and water. He finally returned to Morocco in 1353 CE at the request of the Sultan of Morocco, and worked again as a judge. During that time, the Sultan of Morocco ordered his rider, Muhammad ibn al-Juzay, to record everything Ibn Battuta dictated about his journeys. The result was the masterpiece تحفة النظار بغرائب الأمصار وعجائب الأسفار, completed in 1355 CE. Historians differ on the exact year of Ibn Battuta death, his observation and legacy. Throughout his long travels, Ibn Battuta didn't only visit cities. He listened to the stories of the people who lived in them. In every land he reached, he heard legends and tales passed down through generations, reflecting the beliefs and imagination of people in the Middle Ages. When myths were a part of daily life, he faithfully recorded those stories in his book, preserving their popular spirit. The journey became a living record of human cultures, capturing people's habits and traditions. He described not only cities and landmarks, but also the food, clothing, homes, mosques, churches, and the behavior of kings, rulers, and common people alike. The rulers of his time highly respected travelers and scholars. They provided them with housing, food, and financial support. Ibn Battuta was also about whenever he met a ruler or sultan, he would praise them with his poetry, which earned him admiration, gold, and gifts, helping him fund his travels. He truly was ahead of his time, traveling to lands that were almost unreachable in that era. He crossed the deserts on horses and camels, sailed through dangerous sea, and faced pirate robbers. He was captured in India, and near-death experiences. Yet he always survived, protected by God's care, Allah's care, ready for new adventure. Today travel has become far easier than in Ibn Battuta time. A person can cross continents in a few hours by airplane without the exhaustion of horses or the dangers of the sea. The roads are safer and more comfortable now, but travel still requires money, visas, and official permits. As for me, I dream of traveling around the world, seeing different cultures and customs. For traveling is a true joy. It's like living in parallel worlds, discovering a new version of yourself each time you see another phase of life. Thank you for watching.